How's it going, ChevelleFactory fans? Nick here, and I've got this beautiful 1970 Chevelle sitting in front of me. I'm hanging out over at Ironworks Speed and Customs in Bakersfield, California. Roger and his team build some phenomenal cars, and Roger's got me helping out with some video content on the Legacy Series Chevelles and some of the other builds that he's working on as well. But I wanted to take the opportunity and walk around myself and show you guys this 1970 Chevelle that they're getting almost to the completion point for it. This car is absolutely phenomenal. It is definitely got the best of the best, and it is definitely not for the lighthearted on price tag. I mean, everything about this car is just over the top phenomenal. And when I say over the top phenomenal, it's not built to win shows, although it is a very nice car. The paint job is great on the car. I mean, like, you could take it to a car show without a doubt, but this car has a lot of features that make it a driver car. So I'll start off by saying, you know, spending, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars on these cars isn't for everyone. You can be plenty fine with a car that's got rust, that's got, you know, factory seats and you know, roll down windows, manual roll down windows, and it's got a carbureted, you know, 350 in it, and be plenty fine and enjoy a classic car without a doubt. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've had that and you're seeking more and you have the budget for more, this is where the ultimate starts to come into play. This car is sitting on a Speedtech chassis, and the Speedtech chassis is awesome. It's got a front end that's all redesigned, geometry and ride height. But what makes this car even further is that it's got an IRS Speedtech chassis on it. So that just alone raises the bar on price tag. And it's not just, I mean, sure, you can just order up a Speedtech chassis and you can say, okay, that's, you know, let's just say $30,000, $40,000 and get it delivered to your house. You still need brakes. You still need rear axles. You still need, you know, shocks and other things that go along with it. And then you have to find a car that you can rest on that chassis, and not let alone you have to do all the modifications to the floor to make that work. And this car, then let's start from the front here. This car, they've done a whole new firewall that's got some bead roll in there, just give some style. And they've also changed the position of the steering column a little bit. They've also deleted, if you can notice there, they deleted the windshield wiper, and now the windshield wipers are inside, and it's an aftermarket company. I forgot the name, but it's all recessed on the inside, and then they've got the reservoirs poking out here for the manual transmission. If it was an automatic, it would have a little bit different firewall on it, and then obviously would have the master cylinder for the brakes, you know, hanging out of there. But that is different, the whole firewall. Then from there, it continues to the center hump to fit the transmission. So all that center hump has been all redone. Yet, another feature that throws this into a whole nother ballpark of direction is that these seats are out of a newer modern Camaro that have a really thick base mechanism for sliding back and forth and tilt, and that alone would raise your driving position up too far, and you're more likely you would hit your head if you're a taller person. So since Roger is a taller guy and he wants to accommodate for the taller guys, they recess the floor to recess the seats. I don't know the exact measurement, but it's like 2.5 inches, give or take. So that has been modified. So not let alone the center tunnel, but the seats have been lowered, the pans. But unlike just a regular chassis with a live axle, that kind of chassis you would just have to do for the transmission, just have to do the tunnel here and do a mild, you know, tunnel for the driveline. But because it's an IRS, the driveline is raised up even further for the IRS, and then there's more modification that needs to be done on the center section here, let alone behind the seat in the trunk. There's another whole, you know, floor section that needs to be modified. And then you're talking about the wheel tubs for mini tubbing, because you have such a big, you know, large wheel and tire underneath it. So then you take it even further from there, which there isn't a lock on the trunk, you know, on the rear lid. so I can't open it up right now. But if you go and watch some of the Ironworks YouTube videos, you'll see the trunk, and that is configured with a gas tank that is raised up. It's recessed into the trunk up higher. So that gives you more ground clearance on the backside. And then if you notice right here, the gas tank fill neck is missing. And that's because they don't like, Roger doesn't believe in kneeling down on a low car and putting fuel, holding the license plate down and putting fuel in the car, because these cars are so low and he's a tall guy. So what they did was they manufactured a bracketry system that has the neck that goes on the inside of the trunk, and you untwist it and you fill it up there. It's got the vent and everything. It's vented outside the car, but the point being is that you fill it up on the inside of the trunk, and again, that tank is raised up into the floor, recessed into the floor. So there's a ton of modifications that go into the cab of this car just to put it onto the chassis. And with all those modifications comes labor, and that comes hours, and what's hours worth and have you, and let alone he's done, his shop has done all the designing and everything to make all this work. Sure, someone can do it themselves and spend a bunch of time, but again, all that stuff adds up. So that's just like the chassis configuration and getting the cab onto the chassis, okay? So then you're talking, the next step is that you have to have these seats, because they are using the modern seat out of a Camaro for all the luxury. It also has, if I'm not mistaken, it has heated seats and the AC. I believe the AC still, but I know the heated for sure is still working on this. One of the switches is up there on the dash for the drivers and the passenger. So that's pretty cool too. The rear seat is modified to fit with the floor modifications, so that's also has to be modified as well. So you're not just sticking stock stuff back in there. That all has to be modified. So it's a huge domino effect. Then they take it a step further, and on these Legacy Series Chevelles, they have the dashboard that they were not content with, and they made, if you notice, this whole dash section looks factory, right? But it's nowhere near. This is all a new billet section machined out of solid, thick billet aluminum that's been machined down and then coated on the front side to look like the original coating. But as you can see, it's all configured completely different than what, like you have AC vents right there, and you have a radio right here, which is not like how it was factory. And then the gauge points are just like factory. Those are Dakota Digital gauges that are in the actual dash section that's billet aluminum. So that's going to be a factory replacement, but still everything is just to the next level, right? I mean, you have wiring harnesses on top of wiring harnesses. Earlier we were shooting a video and he literally pushed down on this and it was not moving. I mean, I'm yanking on it right now and it's not moving. I would not have done that just without seeing that he did it earlier on the video that we shot. He literally from the outside the car pushed down on it. And I'm familiar with these dashboards. They're plastic and they're held in very minutely from back in the 1970s, what the standards were. And when you push down and pull, it moves. This thing does not, which that piece right there is solid aluminum, which that's heavy already as it is, plus everything else has been stacked on top of that. So that's all weight, and they've taken that in consideration and made the dash just bolted in nice and sturdy. There is a bar, you can't really see it, actually right there, there's a bar that they make that goes from one side to the other, and that bar ties the dashboard into the body, and then also gives some mounting points for some of the modules and brains and stuff like that for the electric windows, the Dakota Digital, the ECU for the LT4 engine, a bunch of different wiring harnesses and brains and stuff like that is all housed there. So, they take it even further and check out these billet closeout panels for the cowl. So those look pretty cool, and Roger has stated that stuff like this, they're gonna offer this to the retail marketplace. So it's not gonna be exclusive to just his builds, Like if a guy wanted these for his build, he could buy these. If they're not already up on the website, he's going to be adding that kind of stuff to the website. He's going to be doing the cowl closeouts. He's going to be doing the billet radiator, the hold down plate, which I don't think that's on the website yet. He's also these fender wells. So another thing that, you know, you buy a chassis and you buy these big old wide wheels and tires, and you don't realize that the factory wheel wells are radius down a lot tighter. So when you have that wider tire and wheel combo that's lower, the chassis and the wheel well is lower down to the tire, now that has nowhere it rubs. So a lot of people don't run their wheel tubs. They'll run them open when they have lowered cars, or shops cost, you know, thousands and, you know, dollars to, you know, slice them, bring them out, re-weld them, body work them, and make them all nice and everything. Well, you know, that could be, you know, he's saying somewhere around 40 hours per side in some instances. By the time you make them actually work for this lowered stance, sometimes if it's not as low, if you don't have this much of an extreme, you know, stanced out chassis, you won't have to do as much work. But for this kind of car, it needs extensive work to the wheel wells. So these are carbon fiber, even though they're satin black right now. They painted them satin black, they had them coated, but that's carbon fiber underneath there. And they're going to be selling those as well. That's another, you know, additional part that is customized for these cars that they're going to be selling. This car is running an LT4 with a T56 bowler transmission, and it's blueprinted. So definitely not the just standard stuff going on here. I mean, this is all upgraded. This LT4 has a cam in it. It's got this Edelbrock upgraded top blower on it as well. I believe they're talking 700 to 800 horsepower, somewhere around there. Don't quote me. Again, I'll let, you know, Roger speak all the true facts on this stuff. Go and check out his YouTube video, Ironworks Speed and Custom YouTube, and you can find out a lot more in-depth details. This is just from my point of view. These headlights are pretty cool. Again, you know, not completely original, but pretty close to something that fits this style of car without a doubt. And then they have these fog lights down here as well that are made by the same company, JBL, I believe, makes these. And they made the custom billet insert right here to hold this light, this aftermarket light. They made this insert to fit into the factory Chevelle bumper. This valance right here is also something that they custom made in-house. That is for these Chevelles. They might be producing those for people to buy on the retail side. But, you know, a cool fact, oh, that right there is steel. That's not fiberglass, that's not plastic or anything like that. That's an actual formed steel valance. So something that I want to point out here, you know, a lot of times people spend a crap ton of money on these cars to get built, and they start getting, if you want to say, so customized that they don't even resemble the factory, you know, look and everything. But check this out. This car, as high-end as it is, as much modifications and everything, it still has a front license plate recess point. They did not shave that off and re-chrome the bumper. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, that right there is something that I kind of enjoy seeing. It kind of blends in. It plays tricks on you because this car looks, I guess if you want to say, it's kind of in disguise of how much work is done to it. Obviously, you see that the car has a different stance to it. It's got bigger wheels on it. If the engine, you know, was being shown, say if the hood was closed, you wouldn't really understand what was going on with it if it just had bolted on parts and it was slammed out, or if it really has a high-end chassis underneath it. Here's the door panels that they're working on. These are all carbon fiber as well, and these grills are all machined and then they're Cerakoted, and those are going to house in the door panels. It's going to house a speaker, and then in the kick panel it's going to house a speaker as well. And then your factory door armrest and pole handle is going to be used right here still. These are all, you know, put together with magnets, so you can access, you know, the different pieces that you know, put it all together, and then also unbolt it, and no screws or anything like that is seen on the outer side edges or anything like that. So super clean, super clean. You've got an aftermarket steering wheel. Not sure who makes that piece, but really nice setup. We're on this side of the car, and these switches right here are not factory. Those are another, you know, used out of another vehicle, something a lot more modern and, you know, works better than the factory plastic unit that, you know, would a lot of times go out and not work properly, or, you know, fault out and have a faulty, they would flicker and stuff like that, just because the contact point just wasn't as, I mean, it's 1970 technology. But yeah, rear seat, I mean, these seats, being a modern seat, real thick, but it still has that factory vibe and feel to it. Show you underneath here. Look at how wide that tire is. All stainless exhaust. You got resonators back here. The rear valance isn't on this car yet, so that the rear valance would go right here, and then I'm not sure what they're going to do about the tips, if they're going to hang out or turn down. More than likely turn down. But again, you know, look at that look at that gas tank. The gas tank is recessed up way farther than what you typically see on these cars. And I really dig that it's a traditional black with white stripes. Stripes are all traditional. Hard cut edge, rounded edge. Really nice. These are Forgeline wheels. I forgot what the series model they are based off of, but basically from what I'm told is they're very similar to what Forgeline makes themselves, but Roger had a little bit altered them just a little bit, and then the inside windows are all Cerakoted. They look really good. So yeah, just a walk around to show you this freaking such a nice Chevelle. I can't wait until the hood's on, the glass is in, and this thing is actually on the road driving. I got to see it in motion earlier when we pulled it out to video it and do a walk around video for Ironworks channel. But if you guys get a chance, go and check out Ironworks Speed and Custom on YouTube. You can see videos on this Chevelle and let alone other Legacy Series Chevelles that they are producing. But this thing is just awesome. Well, I hope you guys liked this walk around again. I had to. I mean, I'm just stoked over this car. I'm stoked for the owner. His name's Rob. I'm not sure who exactly he is. Never talked to the guy, but Rob, your car is freaking awesome. I'm stoked for you, and man, I hope that we get to meet and I get to do a ride along with you, or I get to ride along with Roger in the car at some point. Great looking car. All right, guys, I'm gonna get back to work, but here's a look at this 1970 Legacy Series Chevelle at Ironworks Speed and Customs. Thanks for watching.